I've got 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the work session to order. Mr. Taylor's out of town. He asked me to fill in, so let's try to see if we can get through this. Welcome to tonight's work sessions. Please silence your electronic devices during the meeting. Let us all be respectful for each other and address the matters at hand. The first thing on our agenda, open court, invocation and pledge to be led by District 4 commissioners. Then we have a roll call by Ms. Rita. Approval of the minutes of the August 25th commission meeting have been distributed. Please read over these and let Ms. Crowder know if there are any errors. Next thing is announcements. Looks like Tuesday, September the 23rd, Trials of Remembrance to be held on the courthouse steps at 6 p.m. Event sponsored by the Health Council for Suicide Prevention, Awareness, and Remembrance. Are there any other announcements to be made tonight? Any announcement? If not, the next thing on the agenda will be set the agenda. Then we next thing, citizens' response to the agenda items. If anyone would like to speak to the commission on the specific of the agenda, please sign in at the podium the night of the meeting. The next thing is county mayor report. Mayor, is there anything you wish to bring forward at tonight's work?
Well, it's been officially announced that the tower out at the nuclear plant will implode Thursday morning at 6:30. Said it would take about 15 seconds. So if you're not there, you'll miss it. If you get there late, it'll be gone. There's a special staging place out there that they're going to allow the media and I think they're giving permission to a limited number of people. One of the best ways to see it's out in Hiawassee. I don't know if there'll be how many people gather out there, but you've got the best view from over there near the Martin Farm in Hiawassee. One of the things I'd mention is that Commissioner Crook's mother's back in the hospital. We want to continue to remember her. And David Noller buried his sister last week, so remember that family in the days ahead. That's all I have tonight. Thank you, sir.
Next thing on our it'll be the committee and board reports. The budget and finance met tonight. Parks and Recreation, we got a meeting Thursday night at 6. I hope everyone can show up for that meeting for our budget or for our Parks and Recs meeting, September the 18th at 6 o'clock. Looks like the First Response Committee's got a meeting on September the 22nd. Is there any other reports for any meetings? We'll move, next thing we'll move into active business, election of officers. We will hold the annual election for the commission chair and the pro tem. Any interested parties may be nominated at next week's meeting. We need to elect the chair and the chairman pro tem. We do not have any resolutions presented at this time. Then we'll move right into ordinances. First reading to be held for 5 ordinances. Ms. Mahan, please discuss the 3 rezonings and the proposed annexation.
Thank you, sir. So the first one we have is there on Highway 10, a rezoning from A1 to C1. And if you look in your packet, you'll see that I do have a picture of the property there on Highway 10. And then there's also a rezoning map there. So there are some commercial property along Highway 10 there that would help support the rezoning of this property. They would like to establish their business office. They have a business office in Lebanon and they'd like to relocate it here to Hartsville. What questions might you have?
Just one, this is where they've been leveling that, clearing out all that dirt, I think just up from That's just up the road from Mr. Ford's house, am I right?
That is correct. They are currently working on building up that pad. They're working with Carmen Surveying, making sure that they are going to be able to be out of that flood zone.
Anybody else got any questions in regard to this? Mr. Ford?
Yeah. I don't know the direction that the road has chosen to go through there, but eventually Highway 10 will go through there somewhere. I assume they're aware of that.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Ford. I have discussed with them that they do need to contact the entities that are doing the road and making sure that they're going to be able to have that not be in that way of construction. Now, once they do get this rezoned, before they can even do anything about a business office there, they will have to bring a site plan to the planning commission, and all the will be thoroughly investigated as well. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll move into ordinance 334-2025-21, rezoning A1 to R1 on Green Hollow. Ms. Maya.
Thank you. So in your packet, you'll see that they would like to rezone this from A1 to R1. Again, in your packet, you do have a zoning map that shows that they have basically a subdivision right across Highway 10 that is all R1. There's R1 further down Highway 10. And then even a large parcel of land towards the end of what's on that zoning map as R1. The reason why they would like to rezone this is they would like to subdivide this lot into two parcels in order to build their daughter a house on that parcel. They are experiencing some health concerns and would like to have their daughter close.
Anybody got any questions from Ms. Mahan on this? Looks like all of them was approved by the planning commission, all the ones we're looking at tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I have forgotten to mention that, yes, they did receive a favorable recommendation from the planning commission based on that information.
All right, the next ordinance 335-2025-22, rezoning M1/R2 to R2 Herod Lane.
So in looking at this parcel of land, it did connect to what you can see on the left side here, parcel number 14.00. They bought the 14.01. So what is being rezoned from M1R2 to R2 is 7 acres of that large parcel. I do have a warranty deed indicating who the new property owners are. And before the second reading, I will have a legal description of that specific parcel of land. If you look at the zoning map for this parcel of land, it's bisected. So you can see where the top part of that is R2. The red line going across the zoning map indicates where the urban service district ends. And then the M1 is strictly in the general services district, so basically out in the county. So they would like to rezone this whole parcel here as R2 in order to be able to develop this with townhomes.
You might have got any more questions from Ms. Mahan on this one? Any more questions on this? If not, the next one is ordinance 336-2025-23, annex a parcel to urban district. Page 31 on your packet.
So again, looking at the same parcel of land where it's bisected R2 M1, you can see where the R2 is in the urban service district. They would like to annex that bottom portion of this parcel into the urban services out of the general services. When they came to the planning commission and asked to do this, we asked them to specifically look at what utilities were going to be available, how that is going to be impacted. They do have sewer service down Cemetery Road to just right across the road from there. It ends at the Gregory residence there on the Cemetery Lane. And then sewer is also available all the way around down towards the M1 curve there. Sewer is available there as well. They also have currently a fire hydrant there at the Gregory residence on Cemetery Lane, and there's another fire hydrant further on down this road towards the Miller's residence at the end. So given that information, the Planning Commission felt very comfortable with giving a favorable recommendation towards annexation of this parcel of land.
Any questions, Ms. Mahan, in regard to this? Mr. Gregory?
Two questions on this one. One, the fire hydrants, have we checked with the fire department to know if those hydrants are any good? 'Cause I know they would sometimes have mentioned issues with hydrants. And I guess, second question, if that whole thing is R2, in theory, how many townhomes could go on that property at R2?
So with it being all R2, that I have not calculated the number of townhomes that they would be able to do that with. I believe that the thought process is they would like to develop it into parcels of land in there and make like a little subdivision. With the fire hydrants, I did speak with the water department and asked what the gallons per minute was for that fire hydrant. The one there at the Gregory residence on Cemetery Road is the 500 gallons per minute, which would classify it as fire protection in our ordinance.
Any more questions? And on this one? Did anybody show up from that area in your planning commission meeting to express, anybody show up to speak on it from the community out there?
We did not have anyone from the community other than those that are seeking for this rezoning.
All righty, I guess that's it for Ms. Monahan. Next thing is, ordinance 337-202524, maximum number of liquor and package stores. Commissioner Thomas, please address the next ordinance, on this ordinance for the liquor package stores.
So a businessman in the county came to Rita to ask about purchasing, being able to put in a package store. She got to looking into it, found that there was a law that said that you can only have 2 liquor stores in the city. That discussion, because we were all aware that there's been multiple, liquor stores in Hartsville. That got kicked around, did a little more looking into it, found that there was a lawsuit that was brought against the city. They won the lawsuit. That's how we got the liquor store up by Roddy's Market. But that nothing ever was changed on that law. We referred to the whole information that we found to Mr. Beller. He said it would just be easier if we wanted to just do an ordinance one way or another on it. So based on all that, Codes and Zoning decided to come up with this ordinance. It just takes any of the limits off of the number of liquor stores and whether it can be in the city or in the county.
Any questions for Mr. Thomas in regard to this? Anybody else got any questions on this? All righty. Next thing is a public hearing, a second reading, a public hearing, and the second reading will be held on the ordinance 332-2025-19, a rezoning on East Main. Mr. Mahan, do you have any information to add from last month on this?
No, sir, the information remains the same. Staff report give it a favorable recommendation, and so did the planning commission.
Anybody got any questions for Ms. Mahan on this? All righty, we move into the budget amendments. Most of the amendments are for purchase orders opened in the fiscal year 2025, but not yet liquidated. All amendments may be taken in one motion, should that be the will of the body. So has anybody we had the budget and finance meeting before this tonight, and the budget and finance committee was approval of all these, and I think we can all take them in one motion. On that, has anybody got any questions on any of these budget amendments? If not, next thing, public notary applications approval. Rita will have the list to present at next Monday's meeting. Next is other business advisory committee. Mr. Beller discussed advisory committee for community prison relations. Mr. Beller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to kind of announce that the lawsuit that was filed in the matter of the Leeper estate against Hartsville-Trousdale County and certain members, past and present, as well as mayors past and present, there has been an opinion that's been rendered dismissing that case against us. So right now they could file a motion to reconsider. And if I'm not mistaken, the time for appeal is not yet run, so it's not yet final. But nonetheless, that's good for us. Now, as all of you are aware, the issue of CoreCivic has been a very hot topic throughout the state. And I've been very guarded about how we proceed in these meetings and our discussions by virtue of that particular lawsuit and lawsuits in the past, as well as potentially lawsuits in the future. We don't always know what's going to come down the pike. Prior to the riot that came out earlier this year, both the mayor and I had already begun working on how we're going to proceed with CoreCivic, because our contracts doesn't expire till next June 30th, 2026. Miss Amy, is that correct? Okay. So we had already reached out and talked to several stakeholders and key individuals as it relates to those contracts and the things that are ongoing at CoreCivic. So I want to assure this body that there's not been any neglect on the part of the administration or the county and looking at these issues, although we've remained very silent about it during this time, particularly during this lawsuit. I can't tell you how many folks I've talked to, probably having, seems like the list of lawyers goes on and on and on. Throughout this process, one of the things that I've considered is how we approach this next series and what are we to do? What are our obligations to the citizens of Hartsville-Trousdale County and in going forward? I can tell you that there's a lot of questions still that I have, even having spoken with many people, and some of them that are quite vocal, and some of them have made their positions very clear in the media and elsewhere. One of the things I'm going to recommend to this body is to establish an advisory committee. Now,
this advisory committee has the purpose of relaying to this commission thought processes as it relates to the citizenry, and they're also stakeholders. I'm going to recommend that no county commissioner sit on this advisory committee. And one of the reasons for that is because in the last lawsuit, we were named in several instances for what was referred to as a prison oversight committee. And so I wanted to avoid the issue of making us a potential litigant in any future lawsuits. And so I felt like that an advisory committee to help assist, communicate with the citizenry to this body, making recommendations would be beneficial. I had taken the liberty of reaching out to some interested stakeholders and citizens, many of whom you all know because they've been very vocal, both and very active in this ongoing issue. So I'm going to make a recommendation to this body to establish a 5-person advisory committee on the issue of the core civic, as far as things that may be necessary for safeguards. And some of them I've spoken with, and some of the ideas that they've come up with are excellent. And their concerns are obviously there's some of those concerns are valid as it relates to what we know, think we know, or think we see and hear. I'd like to ask all of you to consider this and deliberate on this, and then make your decision next week. If any of you want to discuss this with me privately, I'll be happy to do that. But again, I also remind everybody, everything we do is a matter of a public record. So our comments and things like that can come up in a transcript someplace. So I just want everyone to be mindful of that as we speak. So I had made my recommendations of folks that I'd reached out to. And again, I'm not locked in 110% on a 5-person. There's always room for more, but 5 always seems to be a good number on committees of this kind. I'd reached out to Toby Woodmore, Mark Beeler, Zach Taylor, Melissa Chala, and General Jason Lawson. All of 5 of these individuals have agreed to serve on this committee after I explained to them the purpose and going forward. So again, it's not your normal type of committee comprised of commissioners, but again, the reason for no commissioners being on that is for insulation for the commission members individually. I will point out that a lot of the folks that were named in the previous lawsuit were just people that were simply just because they were doing their duty and they got named. And so I'd like to avoid that now. Other than that, that was it. So if any of you have any questions about this, I will be happy to discuss it with you one-on-one after the meeting. You can do that. Or at a later date this week, you can just call me. I think you all got my cell number and email. If not, I know anybody from the administration does it, and I'll be happy to sit down and talk with you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Is this advisory committee needs to be approved by the county court, or is this
They'll need to make a motion to approve it, and just that way we've got it on record. We can do that. And if that's the will of this body, I'll be happy to take point and reach out to each one of them via email, contact them, and allow them to set up their own organization, how they want to do that, and come back to this body at a later date, preferably October. I've already, in speaking with 1 or 2 of them already, I think both of them use the word I need to study more about this situation. And so they're already in the place of where they're gearing up toward thinking about the factually what needs to be done and some well thought out recommendations. And these were, folks, a lot of these were hand selected based upon their previous work in this commission, based upon their outspokenness and in the community over this issue. And of course, I think General Lawson being the most vocal of all of them, I think anybody who's looked on the news at any point in time is well aware of where he is. But they also come from various walks and have a very insightful background into, I think Mr. Taylor he gets appointed cases. He actually has to go into the facility itself. So I think what it does is it brings a very broad spectrum of folks that can assist. And of course, I'm well aware that these contracts, I know that there's some of these issues are going to relate around the administrative contract where there's more than one contract. And so, again, I would prefer to have those conversations one-on-one as opposed to in a public meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Is there any other business to be addressed tonight? Any more business to be addressed tonight? Is there any public comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Ford. Thank y'all for coming. Second by Mr. Gregory.